I'm going to try and get more familiar with this streaming thing. So I decided to just hop online and try and do something. And we're likely to get interrupted by anyone in this house. So what I would like to do is a rain world sort of fun art thing because I'm having a lot of fun with this game. It has captured my imagination. So I kind of have it in my mind, but I also have my web browser references already loaded. I don't think they're going to show in the stream because I'm only capturing the Unity window. Anyway, the more blubbering, let's add the Clayxel container. So grid and sculpt away. So they call it the slag cat, the little white dude going around in Rain World. So I'm gonna start doing that, I guess. I want to sort of do it like hanging from a pole because that's usually one of the things that you do in the game. So it's mostly going to be spheres, I guess. And I'm not sure about the lighting. I think I'm gonna take care of that later, even though Unity gives us this very horrid specular setup from the front initially, but I should be able to do something with it. So I'm having another look at this, at the reference. Okay, so sort of something like this for the head. I'm going to give it a little blend. It's got like this cheek that I want to replicate. So it means the first sort of scale down like this. This is incredibly tiny. I think it's gonna be a bit too tiny resolution. Let's scale it up a bit. And then if I don't manage to fit everything here, I will just scale the grid up. I mean, increase resolution. So let's see if I can sort of understand the geometry by starting to carve the eyes, because the thing with this kind of sculpt, in the case of the slug cat, is they look easy because they are just literally a bunch of spheres blended together, but it's also very elusive. Is that a word? I think it's like it's kind of tricky to nail it down because our brain fatigues a bit more on softer features. well, at least my brain. And that means I need to pinpoint the geometry, the coordinates, which, again, for my brain at least, it's eyes, nose, mouth. Now, this little guy doesn't even have a mouth, so there's not much left that I can use to pinpoint its facial features. I guess what I'm gonna need is eyes and nose. That's what I can sort of use to understand the facial features. So next thing that I will do then is just add a bit more volume here, and then get myself a nose, which is gonna require just a bit less blending. Let's see if I can scale it, make it pop up from here. So I'm mostly doing this stream like this, just hopping online and starting to stream, because last time I noticed that, so this, I'm checking if there's anybody watching the stream right now, and it doesn't look like anybody at all, which is okay. Because I was looking back at the references. It's okay because I need to get used to this streaming thing. It looks fairly easy when you see other people doing it, and turns out like anything in this world, really, when you do it and you've never done it before, it's confusing as hell, because you know that people might be watching you, so it starts getting a bit, distracting, and yeah, if you're not used to it, it's not as easy as it looks, with all the people doing it nowadays. It's a fairly common thing. You see people just hopping online and going like, I'm going to stream. And when I did it the first time to show you Clayxels, I did the most horrible demo ever. So I decided whenever I have time, rather than sculpting on my own, and then I just show you the final thing, which could have been done with anything, Blender, 3ds Max. It doesn't really give away how unique this way of sculpting is. So the only way to really understand how unique this thing is to actually see somebody working with it. So here I am. Cool. That's sort of the head. Let's quickly, as you've noticed, that's something I keep saying. I said it even in my last stream. I don't really use add primitive from the main panel. I just keep duplicating solids, and I go from there. Just let's not forget that we're using Unity. It's not really a sculpting tool, and because of that, I do plan on doing a whole toolbar dedicated to Clayxels. That's really much needed. Another weird thing about streaming, I guess, is if you do a surprise stream, like unannounced, like I just did, you end up alone. I don't think there's anybody right now watching. I'm basically just doing it on my own. But the cool thing is, it's going to stay recorded. Even if I'm on my own, eventually there will be a reference of this thing. So that's good. So I'm trying to do the ears, and I noticed that the ears are kind of rounded, boxy thingies, but I don't just want a box. I'm going to need some adjustments, which means I'm gonna clone this thing. I gotta do two things. So I clone this thing and I get myself a negative shape. And that's the first thing because I want some tapering here and then probably some other stuff. So the other thing that I'm going to do, because you will notice that by doing that, I also start carving into whatever the solid has before. So everything that we've done so far, basically, it's going to get carved as well. I don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll isolate the ear and the negative solids that I'm using right now. And to do that, what I'll do is I'll recall which solids are my ear, so number 8, 9, and 10, and I'll move them all the way up in the hierarchy. What happens now is that I'm going to carve into my ear, but not into anything else, because anything in this system, anything in Clayxels works from the bottom up. So if you look at my stack of solids on the hierarchy here, clay solid number 5 is the last solid that we have in the stack right now. So it means it's going to, whatever we do in terms of blending positive or negative, it's going to ripple up all the way to the first solid that we have here at the beginning of the stack. So the game basically is all about repositioning these elements in your hierarchy whenever you want to isolate something. So right now I moved basically the sculpture of my ear up the hierarchy before anything else. So anything that comes after is going to blend into my ears. But the negative shapes are only going to carve into my ear and they don't have anything else going up. So I've actually isolated this little sculpt of the ear. And then it looks like it's working. I'm going to rotate it, and I tend to work without symmetry. So symmetry is in this thing, but I just don't really like sculpting with symmetry. And that's one thing that I love about sculpting tool. It's very liberating. It's very good if you want to do free form kind of thing. So I actually really enjoy having to deal with symmetrical shapes because it's so easy just placing stuff around and modifying it. So what I'll do now is I'll create another ear. So whenever you duplicate something in Unity, it just pushes it back to the front of the stack. So at the end. And same deal, I want my ear, I want the negative shapes to not condition the rest of the sculpt. So I'll move it back at the beginning of the hierarchy. And here we have it. Unity might also mess up the order of my solids when duplicating. So the negative shapes, of course, have to stay in front. Otherwise, they don't have anything to carve into. I mean, in front of the ear piece that I'm trying to sculpt. And another thing that I'm doing is I'm keeping everything in global coordinates. Sometimes I switch onto local, but most of the time I work in global. So some useless blend here and here, but these things are not really blending onto anything. The more blend you have, the more Clayxels will try and do computation for no reason. So another way to keep stuff optimal is to try and limit the amount of blend. And these are all things that might change eventually. As I keep on optimizing this stuff, but it's fairly tricky math. It's really at the limit of my, skills. So I just try and keep it simple as much as I can. Really, sometimes it feels kind of a miracle that I got to where I got with this stuff. My sort of not really academic computer in engineering, software engineering and math skills, because my background is in fine art. And then when I was in my 20s, I started programming out of needs, stuff like that. And now I've been programming for ages, decades, but always kind of high level, never these kind of stuff that requires a lot of performance. Um, so, I'm managing, all right, but I'm definitely, out of my comfort zone when it comes to very complex math, and in this case, requiring a lot of performance. As in, this thing needs to go fast, and right now it's doing okay, but it's nowhere near as fast. Just check out Dreams on PS4 if you want to see what you can do with this kind of technology when you are you know what you're doing, and the media molecule guys definitely know what they're doing. Unlike that being said, it turned out okay tech-wise. Um, I'm really hoping for a friend of mine to join in developing this thing so that we can squeeze in more performance. He's way more GPU tech savvy and math savvy than I am. So here is another trick, sort of trick. It's kind of obvious. I created the eyes, and they are blending with the rest of the sculpt. Even if there's no blending, even if blend is at 0, there's always going to be a little bit of blend between each Clayxel. And I'm doing the eyes, so I couldn't care less for blending here. Actually, the sharper the line, the better. So super easy. I just duplicate my grid. I delete the eyes from the previous grid, and in the new grid, I delete anything but the eyes. I could have just created a new object, added the Clayxel component, moved the eyes under the new grid, and so on and so forth, but duplicating is easy. So you can see now the eyes are inside a whole new grid, and they look sharp because they're not blending between grids. I can also, once I move on to a new grid, I can also do other cool stuff like recentering the grid, increasing or decreasing the resolution independently per grid, shade it. Like each grid has its own parameters of shading. So in the case of the eyes, I definitely don't want any metallic, but I might want some very fine specular. So I'll do that without influencing the rest of the sculpt. And actually, while we are talking about material, there's no real reason to have specular on this guy at all. So I'll just remove that. Maybe just a bit because it helps me during sculpting. So I'll just use smoothness and metallic to give me some contrast right now. And then I'll take care of it once I really start shading this thing. So another thing that I'm going to do in the new grid that I've created is I'll just duplicate the eye and make it smaller so that I have a nose. Yeah, that should do. I'm sorry that I'm only using one, like I'm only capturing from one window, so basically you don't get to see the references I'm looking at, which is just brainword lag cat. That's what this little dude is usually called, lag cat. I love it. So yeah, I'm not really, I can't really show you this stuff. Sorry, but you know, just good old lag cat. That's okay. So I'm fairly happy with this thing as it is now for the head. It's definitely too rounded overall. I might do something about it later. Probably too much cheeks as well. Let's see if I can reduce that. It looks also like I'm not really doing much with these cheeks objects. Probably it's just a matter of around with this thing here. Kinda looks like a panda now. Yeah, well, I can work with that. Let's delete the cheeks for now. Let's put the nose back up. Just a little bit. Yeah, for now, I'm kind of happy with this panda's lag cat. We're gonna do other stuff later. Like one thing that I could do is select this guy here. I'll duplicate it and I'll give it some soft negative blend, probably with a cube shape like that. That's not too bad. And for the life of me, I don't know why this thing is coming out as almost like it's looking up. So we'll probably rotate the whole head now in a bit. Now the thing about this lag cat in Rainward is it's one continuous shape. So I won't really be able to split this thing all that much, which is okay. I mean, no biggie, really. This is looking like a panda. That's not right. I think I regret deleting the cheeks object. So that's what I'll do. I'll reduce this, duplicate it, move it at the top so that it doesn't get carved out. And I'll add again my cheeks because that's how it needs to be done. I'll move it up so that it doesn't get, that it does get below the eye socket, which is Clayxels 2. And some more tidy kind of people than I am might actually want to assign names to these things. That would be a good idea. Now, I don't know why when I blend these things here, okay, and let's start moving it down. Happy. Okay, so that's the right point in there. So you see, moving stuff up and down the hierarchy with Clayxels sorts of become like a sculpting workflow. And that's one other thing that it's really not your usual workflow when sculpting something. No doubt. Usually you don't move stuff up and down a hierarchy when you are controlling how one thing blends into another. So definitely something to get used to. Okay, that's like Catty. I'm gonna call it rainwork. That's about it. Should work. Now, one annoying thing that is going to happen now is by the time I try and rotate this whole thing, I will lose the eyes and nose unless I go and select everything, which is really annoying. So, well, it looks like I'm going to have to do it. So I want to basically pose now character. I want to make it so that it's standing on a pole, looking down, so that maybe next time I'll do another stream and I'll do another creature that is trying to reach for it. Because this game is all about being a prey, and there's a whole bunch of bad other animals chasing you down and killing you like crazy. So I want this thing to definitely look down like that. Okay, so that's gonna be my main pose. The rest is about getting the, so let's create, it's gonna be my actual pole, or at least a reference, because I might even do the pole like, I don't know. I usually, like, once I get into this sort of mindset that I'm using Clayxels, for whatever reason, I tend to do everything with Clayxels, which doesn't make any sense because, so probably because I'm more cautious right now because I'm streaming. I just thought, what the heck? I can totally have a cube, like a standard Unity cube. So why not? But usually, when I'm just, my mind is somewhere else, I just do everything with Clayxels, and then I go like, wait a second, why am I doing that? Clayxel objects and Unity objects totally coexist, so there's no real point. Okay, so gonna be tricky to get this thing to properly be on this pole. We're gonna have to tilt the head a little bit like this, like this. That gives me some space to make it climb around the pole. And when I say slag cat, that's what people call this little dude, is because it looks literally like, you know, nature at some point created a weird animal at the crossing between a slag and a cat. Might even sound a bit disgusting until you actually see the little dude. It's super cute. I'll keep an eye on the chat every now and then to see if anybody's saying something. But I think I had something like 3 of you looking right now, and so probably just keeping me in the background blubbering about Clayxels, which is fun. Okay. Um, let's see. I'm probably best off just roughing out the overall volume of the body before I go into detail. I was starting with the neck thing. Doesn't really have a neck, but you know, the overall thing, and it just wasn't working. I couldn't understand what I was doing. So let's start by really defining the proportions of this thing. So something like this. It's just about how long the black cat usually is. The body is usually slightly bigger in proportion to the head than what I did. So we'll do that. And that's sort of like, probably I made it a bit fatty. I don't know, something like that should do. And now it's all a matter of blending the heck out of the stuff and then adding the arms and legs. The rest of the body is going to sort of fade into a long tail that I'll do later. Now I just need to see this thing through. So I'll start blending away. Those are the kind of moments where you go like, oh, I see why you're using this thing. You know, you just place matter, stuff, material, and then you go like, okay, blend, done. Like, honestly, it looks like it needs to already. Cool. Let's start approximating legs and tail and all the business. So the tail is probably going to still be. So now that I have a clearer idea of the volume, I know that I'm gonna go down with the tail, and I know I have still some space up to use in the grid. If I had a more decent video card, I could just increase the space available within the grid. It's fine. I can still do it, and it's still gonna hold fine, but I tend to be rather cautious of expanding the grid because I know it's gonna do more work on my poor video card. And that's again something that I hope to change soon in the underlying implementation, but right now having twice as much grid at the same resolution, it means double, strain on the video card. Within a certain limit, it's fine. I usually don't even notice it. And then at some point it starts going low. So before I actually get to increase the resolution of the grid, I tend to use all the space available within the grid that I have. And again, I have a laptop with a NVIDIA whatever from 2 years ago. Most of the people with a fairly recent PC and a fairly recent video card will go way past what I can do. But you know what? I kind of like the fact that I'm using a shitty video card, because what I usually tend to use as a meter for performance is this piece of crap. And it's kind of comforting knowing that if it runs on my sort of, very basic video card, it means it's gonna run great on anybody else that has a better video card. I mean, it's a fairly obvious thing. Sorry I talk so slow, but that's one thing that is really hard for me to do when streaming. Talking and doing stuff. I don't know about you guys, but usually I just shut up while I work and I listen. And probably that's how it's gonna end up in the next few years. But right now I have so much to say about this thing because it's kind of new. I haven't been really working on it since all that long, and it's weird is you don't see this thing every day, so it's sort of necessary for now to talk about what I'm doing so that people understand. And this video is gonna stick on YouTube so that other people can have a look at it. So hopefully in the next few streams I will just shut up and do stuff. Or even better, other people will start using this thing. And I won't have to do more streams. I'm kidding, it's fun. So right now the tail is passing through the pole. So what I'm going to do, rather than trying to add a lot of clay around the pole, I'm just going to carve through it. I'm going to create a cylinder like this. I'm going to place it on my pole, roughly where the tail is. This thing is meant to be very soft. Again, this black cat guy is adorable. I would love to trade one of my cats for one of these dudes. Kidding. I'm not trading my cats. But maybe I will give them some company with this black cat. For sure. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna carve into the tail with this thing, with a cylinder. Like this. Maybe I'll use more than one cylinder. I don't know yet. Yeah. More than one cylinder. Okay, something like that. I kind of like it. I think the next thing that I want to do is give it a more tail-ish look. So I will sort of tipping point. So before doing Clayxels, I was doing this weird thing. I will actually have to stream it one day. Another app, same purpose, basically sculpting stuff, quick, getting game assets done quick. And it was called Gallop, and I still love it. It was all based on strokes. You would just stroke stuff out, and right now I'm thinking I would be using a graphic tablet if I was still using Gallop. And that's just to say I'm super happy I did this thing because I hate graphic tablets. They are great, but they're not the usual tool that I use. I don't usually have a graphic tablet plugged in. I'm lazy. I don't like switching gear, plugging stuff. So I love the fact that with Clayxels, I just use my mouse. That's all I need. I almost closed it by mistake. Okay, so that's not too bad. We have a tail-ish thingy going on. It's all right. It's fluffy, just like this thing needs to be. So let's move to legs and arms. Mm, legs and arms. Okay, I think I'm going to use. I was gonna say splines, but from the references I'm looking at, this thing doesn't really have spliny limbs. They're actually, so the upper limbs are really skinny and they are probably just cylinders sticked together, or again, just spheres. I might have picked a subject that is just too easy for Clayxels because, you know, whenever I show this thing around, people go like, is it metable? Um, which sorts of is, but it isn't. Some people refer to metaballs as in the, what the heck is that about you? Some people refer to metaballs as the Blender's implementation. Some other people are actually as old as I am and remember metaballs from the good old days in 3D Studio. And I'm not talking about 3D Studio Max, I'm talking about 3D Studio on DOS. We had metaballs back then and it looked like cutting edge technology. Heck, it was cutting edge technology. It was the best tool to do organic stuff. Imagine polygonal tools were sort of very primitive. So the best thing that you could do was really use metaballs. And there used to be some people doing incredible dinosaurs with metaballs. So I don't know why at some point, sometimes Unity decides that the manipulator will stay behind. Really, why does it do that? I don't know, but it's happening now. And I don't know how. I haven't found a workaround to make it recenter the damn thing. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is close Unity and get Unity back. Sometimes That's the best thing you can do. Which also means I need to check back with streaming software if it's picking up the window. It is. Okay, we can continue. So, I'm using only spheres. I was saying people sometimes ask if this is metaballs. It's a similar kind of implementation, I guess. Metaballs back then relied on marching cubes, which I'm not gonna bore you with, but we got marching cubes in here as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. So in a way, and metaballs surely used stuff like sign distance functions. So in a way, yeah, it is metabolic-ish, sort of, I guess. I don't really know what they used on those two metaballs, but I'm guessing something similar. But the thing is, there's so much more going on than metaballs in this thing. It's kind of reductive. Anyway, so what I want to do is also do, usually these little dudes hold some sort of weapon, very primitive weapons like spears and stuff like that. So I'm gonna make it hold a spear, something like that, and they're pretty long. And I'm going to use it as a composition sort of element, so I'll get some interesting diagonals going on with this spear, something like that. And I'll use that as my reference to get an interesting pose, because right now it's like broken like this, like a robot. I don't like it. Okay, something like this and like this. And so why was I talking about metables? I keep digressing. I'm basically doing this thing, streaming it, so you know, take some effort. I want to show you some cool stuff. And what am I doing? I'm only using spheres. So yeah, it could have been done literally with metal, I guess, aside from the cylinder that I used before. But hey, what can I do? This guy is sphery. No doubt about that. Oh no, the manipulator bug again. Let's hope it doesn't get stuck like before. Okay, so the hands of this dude are very plain, not very detailed, I guess, because of the fur and stuff. I'm still not happy with this thing though, with this arm. It's too broken, too pointing outside. I don't like it. Let's make it point a bit more inside like this. Better. And then let's add the hand. So another thing you'll notice is every now and then the Clayxels will become brighter. So when I do this, that's picking. You can do picking, selecting the grid and hitting pick solid, and then you can select whatever you want. But of course, that's annoying because you should first select the grid, then select what you need. So I've just done a very simple shortcut for that, which is P. I hope I'm not overriding other people's shortcuts, but then again, don't really use Unity as a modeler with many tools. Although there is the official Unity modeling toolkit, I hope you guys are not using P. I mean, the modeling toolkit guys. So again, same trick as before. I will create a negative solid around the sphere with just a tiny bit of negative blend and orient it properly so that I don't really need to create a lot of solids around the sphere. Instead, I will just, get away with one or two. Let's see. Another thing I love about modeling this way is hands. I suck at anatomy. And what this thing allows me to do is sucking at anatomy with a little bit more confidence because I can keep editing stuff. I don't need to really worry that I'm gonna screw up and then there's no way around it. Because I can always go back to it and change it. So something like that. Then we do some sort of thumb thingy. Remember, every time we duplicate stuff, it goes on top of at the bottom of the stack, which also means if we are interested in a primitive that is carving, we're gonna lose the carve. So I move it on top of the primitive carving, which in my case is number 27, and carving is back. So here we have it. Spear. That's not being held very well though. Looks like holding it in a very bad way. Okay, that's better. And again, it's not really like I know anything that I'm doing. I just move stuff around. Sounds bad when I say it out loud, but really that's what I do. I just move stuff around until it works. And that's why I love sculpting this thing. Not too happy with the back now that I look at it. It's not really forming a nice curve, so let's do that. It looked a bit too to me. Okay, better. So, of course, with the other hand, I think it's fair that we're gonna use it to have this little dude hang on the pole. Otherwise, I don't know how to manage. So let's do that. Let's have another hand used just for hanging on the pole. something like that. Some real shitty interpolations going on here. Okay. I think proportions are sort of right, but I really don't like it. So I think I'm gonna move this arm slightly more inside the body and this one more like that. That, that. Like that. But I'm not happy with the elbow now. So I'll move it like this and like this. More like it. This really ugly blending going on, probably because we are very at the limit of the grid resolution. I should really bump up the resolution, but whatever. We keep it like this because we're not really gonna look at it too up close. Actually, I also don't like the orientation of it. Okay. Cool. Another hand, please. Tick and tick. And this is when I start really questioning my poor anatomy knowledge. I really have no idea what an end is gonna look like here. So, okay, I got it. I think I got it. Something like this. I will again use a carving sphere for the minus 0.01 for the pole, like this. I'm gonna place it roughly where the pole is. Right. Okay, kind of works. Let's add a thumb. Any blend here. Another thing that I do is I don't know lately why whenever I start Unity, it complains about a requesting non-existent keyword. I have no idea what's going on with that, but I'm sure it's not my stuff because it's not even loaded when it starts. Anyway, what was I saying? I can't remember. Great. Oh yeah, I was saying that one thing that I do, which is sort of stupid, but maybe it's kind of good. I tend to sculpt using the free version limit in number of solids. So I use it just with the same limits that you guys have. There's no way to buy this thing right now. So the only version available is with the limits on the solids. And for the life of me, I'm not really sure why I do that. It's 64 solids, and you have a handy counter here in the grid. It tells you how many solids you're using, and it tells you limit is 64. Sorry for being annoying. So right now I'm using 35 solids. There you go. I probably get by because I don't really do super complex sculpts. If I was to use this thing on a real project, I would probably need more than that. But you know, one cool thing about doing that, using exactly what people are using, is I sort of realize if it's too painful to work like this or not. And I usually can get away with sort of pretty-ish stuff just by using less than 64 solids. So I'm kind of guessing it's gonna be enough for people to do okay-ish stuff. The version that is gonna go on the apps on the Unity asset store, it's gonna have way more solids. Okay, I'm just gonna do some bit of finger work here, just to give it tiny bit of a detail. Okay. What's going on here? Weird here as well. So legs, and we're about done with this guy. Another thing that I really don't like is what's going on here. Let's see. So if I just put it all the way here, yeah, kinda. It's just really like old school Booleans effect. I don't like it. One thing that I can do is round the bottom and top like this, stretch it like this, make it smaller. No, maybe just give it one shape like this. Yeah. Blah. Okay, yeah, well, it's not too bad if I do this, then this. Maybe we're out of trouble. Maybe I should turn this guy into do something like this. Give it a bit of a softer blend out of this troubling situation. Again, one cool thing about the system is I don't really care about getting stuff right the first time, because I just go back to it whenever I want. So I'm sort of okay with this now, and then maybe I'll go back to it later. Doesn't matter. I can do it anytime. This thing definitely looks too much like a sphere, like it's a sphere, and you know, okay. So uh, I'll probably add a negative shape at some point. Give it a slightly more interesting look. Something like heck, I was starting to get happy about this tail, and now I had to go back and fiddle with it, and now I'm again. Okay, something like this, and then what I'll do is clone this guy, get it roughly in shape what I need it, and then negate the heck out of it. Negative blend. Something like this. Probably a cube is gonna, a lot of negative blend is gonna get me to what I need. Give it a movement like this. Yup. Yes. Fine. Okay, then legs. So yeah, again spheres. I picked up the most spherical animal, imaginary animal ever, and this is making for a rather boring sculpting video. I'm basically this little dude was almost entirely made out of spheres, with the exception for the ears, which are rounded. Most likely not the best really example when it comes to flexibility of this tool. But hey, whatever. That's what it is. Okay. So legs are probably something like this. I'm gonna need less blend on this lower part here, and a more interesting shape, which I'll achieve by making this here smaller and then create another one where I need. Then again, I love spheres. Spheres are cool. They're easy. They blend nice. Spheres all the way. So the legs of this little dude barely exist out of the fairy shape of its body, and they end up with some super cute little feet, which I'm gonna do now. those fit. I don't need any blend. Just place them like this. They are really barely visible in any reference. So we'll just leave them very roughly sketched out. And we most likely use the same trick as before to get them to wrap around the pole. Just create a negative shape in a bit. Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of happy with this. And I would say we don't even need the negative shape around this. It's small, nobody's going to look there. So I'll give it a tiny bit of blending here. A bit more. And remove a bit of this sensation sphere for the whole pole, and we do that with a negative blend like this. That I push a bit inside this thing. Okay. So that's one guy. And the other guy is going to be the other leg. That's going to be probably either hanging or I don't know. Maybe just also on the pole. I don't know. I somehow I like the idea of having one that just hangs like that. Let's see. Let's try and just rough it out and see what happens. Maybe rather than hanging, really, something around here. Yeah, hanging doesn't feel super right. I don't know why, but it makes me think that this little dude was very relaxed. So it's like hanging. It's oh no, again the manipulator bug. Why are you doing this to me? Center pivot does make a difference. Very annoying. Anyway, I'll just have to cope with it. I don't want to restart again, and I think it's centered again. I will have to investigate what it is. So something like that might work. Yeah. So I was saying, yeah, leaving the other leg hanging, it was physically possible, something that could have happened, you know. It has plenty of grip from the other limbs, but it would have given it a bit of a relaxed pose. And instead, eventually, I might actually do a monster from below, or even if I don't get there and I just finish like this, still the whole point of this game is everything is trying to I don't really want this guy to look relaxed ever at all. If you've played this game, you know why. There's nothing relaxing about it. Okay, let's blend in this thing. Something like this. Something like this. Then maybe we just carve the other figure, the negative shape. Very soft. I mean, very light. Yup. Like that. Then cool. I mean, it's really done. How cool is that? Let's just do some lighting, and this is a wrap. Wrap it. So, lighting. First thing that we want to do, regardless of the graphic settings, we want this thing deferred. Then let's place a camera in an interesting position. Something like this. I tend to usually, but that's just me, place the camera far away and then reduce the field of view a lot, which means we get less distortion. So that's going to be a focal length, something around 50 millimeters. I don't know if you do any photography, but when I do, I tend to use 35. Boring. I like it. So shut up. I don't like all that much the wide angles like 28. Anything wider than that is okay. So yeah, that's interesting enough, I guess. We can always rotate the whole grid again if you just want to spin it around a little. And let's start previewing the light, which of course sucks a lot right now. Probably want a light coming from the bottom or something like that. Don't ask me why. That's how I picture it. And we also want all that jazz of the post-processing stack. If you're wondering why it doesn't show up for you if you try this, it's because it's inside a package that you need to enable post-processing. And if you're wondering, like anybody else, if this thing will ever go on HDRP and URP and all that stuff, which is the next gen render pipeline for Unity, the answer is also yes. Not also. I wasn't adding to anything else, just yes. As soon as I get there, I need to make some adjustments to have it on HDRP. For now, it's good old pipeline. Post-processing layer, we add it to the camera. We want fast approximation and aliasing. We want to use the filters on everything seen. I hate skyboxes, so we'll do a fairly dark bluish background, and we will enable the same camera filters on the actual scene viewport. We do it with this thing. And then we want to add a couple of objects. One is going to give us a better Fresnel kind of effect, and that's the reflection probe. It might sound like you don't need it because you're not doing anything reflective, but you need it anyway. That's the bottom line. Because it enables the sort of backlight kind of effect coming from the Fresnel effect. And I'll put it real time every frame, even though I'm not even sure it's needed. And it gives us already that kind of environment light as well. We can easily control it from here. And then what I'll also do is add the post-processing stack, of course. Create another empty object, processing volume, that gets us the actual stack of stuff. Let's create a new one. And this is gonna throw away our Clayxel compute shader. Don't ask me why, it just happens, and I have no way of fixing this right now. So to make Clayxels appear again, you just go to one of the grids and to one of the containers and click reload all. That's why I close the button. But since whenever I'll add a new layer in the stack of the post-processing, it will throw again away my stuff. We are better off just adding everything that we think we need right now, so that we don't need. So I'll add that, I'll add the bloom, I usually just get away with ambient occlusion, bloom, and sometimes vignette. I think I'm gonna be fine for now with this. Ambient occlusion and bloom. Oh yeah, and screen space reflections are also very handy, but we don't have anything reflective right now. So I can now reload all and it won't disappear again, hopefully. Let's add some ambient occlusion. We want to switch off ambient only. We'll probably want some colored ambient occlusion. And we actually do want ambient occlusion to work. Right now it's not really. Is global? Yes, okay. Is global needs to be checked as well. So one other thing that I do usually with the ambient occlusion is give it some color. Ideal thing is probably to get, as well as the ambient occlusion, one of those color bleeding asset store plugins. There is one that is really cool that I've been eyeing. I will probably get that. But right now I do the poor man's color bleeding version using ambient occlusion, slightly colored. Go figure. Directional light, I probably don't want the shadows to have all this strength. Then don't want a yellowish ambient light either. Just keep it white. Then I definitely want another light for, oh, I had some, I'll rename this guy to cost so that I remember what it is. Bloom, I don't think we're going to use Bloom for now, really. It's kind of nice to have a bit of it. And yeah, I'll just use it. It gives us like that sort of um, blurred, as if somebody just smeared the lens. And because lenses are somehow always a bit smeared, I usually find that it adds a bit of warmth to the image. So I tend to stick to it just a little bit. And then I want if we think this is our filler light, oh, skybox, I hate skybox. Okay, if we consider this our sort of filler light, then we want a backlight like this, I guess. Something like this. Backlights are cool because they sort of trace a bit of a the word escapes me right now. A contour to our shape, to the silhouette of the character. I'm sorry, Sunday morning, and I'm a bit kind of sleepy. Okay, so we'll give it a bit of color. We probably don't want shadows on the backlight. Now the specula on this little dude is really starting to hurt my eyes, so I'll get rid of it. And definitely, I don't think I need metallic. Oh, maybe a tiny bit of metallic is gonna give us that Fresnel effect. Why not? Why not? I don't know what else. Still kind of flat-ish. I like it. Why the lighting is really not interesting at all. And that's usually where I start messing around a lot because I suck at lighting. Another thing that is handy is just remember that whatever you do with Clayxels, it doesn't have to just stay, hierarchically as the system sort of defaults to. So just plain grids around the scene. You can totally define a pivot point with a new game object for your character. Grab your containers, move it under what you defined as your pivot point. I'm gonna move there the two cubes I used from Unity as well, to which I will give a new material. Just a black material. And as I was saying, you don't need to keep the Clayxel grids, the Clayxel containers just as they default, like a flat list. You can totally have them in a hierarchy, which allows you to define all sorts of cool effects. So in this case, I'm just using a game object as a parent to actually make the whole thing pivot around it. Cool. And then yeah, luminosity is not really going to help me much, but because the intensity of the light is really going to shoot at us. We don't want that. What we probably want slightly less color and brighter environment color on the reflection probe. Something like that I might do. And I would call this guy done for today. Bit of composition. Let's show this as spear by shortening it. And let's make it like or not. Also, the background is not helping with this guy. It's really not giving us any contrast. Anyway, that's the part where I usually start messing around like a crazy man because I have no idea what I'm doing, as if I had an idea of what I was doing before. But I leave you now because it's just gonna be me messing around with this thing endlessly until I'm happy, which I'll probably never be. Anyway, so we modeled a slag cat. I hope you had fun watching the stream. I'm sorry it was mostly spheres. Next time I'll try and, you know, get something that requires maybe all of the other primitives that we have at disposal, which are quite a few. And that's about it. This video is going to get stored in the YouTube library, so I hope other people will find it useful when watching it. Thank you, and have a good Sunday. Bye, guys.